Welcome back to the Peptides for Women podcast. I'm Jennifer Woodward, and I'm thrilled to welcome one of my heroes to the show today. Let me introduce you to Taylor Williams. So, Taylor is a women's health educator specializing in peptides, women's hormone optimization, and metabolic health. She is World Link Medical Certified in bioidentical hormone replacement therapy and focuses on helping women improve energy, build muscle, lose fat, and optimize hormones for long term health. Taylor is the co founder of the Axion Collective, a community dedicated to education around peptides, hormones, fitness, and longevity. Through her work, she bridges clinical knowledge with real world application, translating complex science into practical, approachable guidance for women at every stage of life. And Taylor, I'm so happy you're here. As I was talking with you before the show, I've actually taken your course before. I'm part of the Axion Collective. I've been following you and your husband on social media and YouTube and with your courses now for almost 3 years. So it's a really big honor to welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm really excited. We have a lot of topics to talk about today. It might take a
Mhm.
little bit more of a different turn than the show usually does because your background, history, and what you do is a little bit different than most of the people I've had on the show. So let's start at the beginning. Now, when I found Hunter on YouTube, I think it really was like November of 2023, maybe December of 2023. He had this really cute girlfriend named Taylor, and I'm following him a little bit and introduced to you, see that you guys have some courses, and so I ended up taking your course the next year. And at that point, I believe you guys were just dating. So can you give me a little bit of like the history into your relationship and how peptides worked into that for you and eventually became your business?
Yeah, so it's so crazy to think that was just like a few years ago. But so Hunter and I currently are married. We got married in May, this past May, we got married. And yeah, like it's definitely I can definitely say like he is my person. Like there's no we could not be more of a weirder, odder couple to like fit together. Um, And I would say, like, I have learned a lot. A lot of my knowledge has come from Hunter with peptides, along from learning from a lot of other great people. But really, like, when we first met, I had always been into health and fitness and wellness. I was personal trainer, nutritionist, and training crazy in the gym. And meeting Hunter actually really helped. He helped me a lot, like shift my training in the gym. But I was on the pathway of learning about peptides prior to meeting Hunter. And I was like, literally, this is like before I met Hunter, I was single. I was really focusing on myself. And like my Saturday nights literally consist of like me hanging out in my house by myself with my dogs and literally listening to, podcasts, listening to all the different, biohacker influencers, literally reading like books after books. I had notebooks, like just taking notes and really trying to learn and study about peptides. And it's funny because at the time, like I had, found a research chemical company that I was going to get ready to order peptides from. And the main reason why I wanted to is because I was dealing with some issues with inflammatory issues from my previous career in hair, being a hairstylist and being around chemicals and, you know, just dealing with a lot of inflammation and actually was told at one point that I had rheumatoid arthritis, you need to go on this medication and that just wasn't an option for me. And funny enough, like I had found a research chemical company that I thought I was going to order from and I just hadn't pulled the trigger yet. And like a week later I met Hunter and while we were on our first like coffee date meeting for the first time because we met on Bumble, as a lot of people in my age group now meet online, and yeah, we he basically told me that he was in the peptide industry and like he was like, no, don't order from that company. Like, let me like I have stuff for you. I'm like, okay, like I literally just met you. Like, and you want me to just like take your word on this? But okay. And I mean, sure enough, I mean, as our relationship grew, I think like within like the first like third week of dating, like he had me injecting myself with BPC and TB 500. And, it's just been a journey from there. I mean, he is the one who I was already studying it, but he is the one that actually brought it to my daily practice.
Hmm. Very, very exciting. I love it. And you guys, you have, built a business off of it. Like I said, I'm in the
Hmm.
Axion Collective. I know it's kind of an evolution of something you guys had done in the past. So
Yeah.
walk me through kind of how you guys integrated, love and business and peptides together.
Yeah. So it really where it kind of all started was that once I was in a transition prior to meeting Hunter, I was wanting to get out of the hair industry. I was really like, I was burnt out. I was tired from it. I was tired of being around the chemicals. And I noticed so much of working with some of these clients for so long. I started noticing my hair clients going through the hormonal shifts and changing of menopause, perimenopause, even being pregnant. And I can start noticing the shifts in the chemical reactions that their hair was getting, whether their thyroid was off, hormone challenges happening. And really, where it kind of all started was that Hunter taught me how to basically set up my YouTube channel and really got me focused on like, okay, you want to do this, like start making YouTube videos. You'll start getting clients. We'll start building you an email list. And, he did show me those steps, but like he didn't do the steps for me. Like I was the one that sat down and like filmed the video. I'm the one that like put the effort into making the email list. There's a lot of work that comes along with it. And prior, prior to us, having the Axion Collective, I had a women's group prior, and that's actually where the group originally started was a Feminine Flow Collective, and it was a group just for women to really understand and learn about hormones and peptides and how to communicate, especially too with healthcare providers for hormone replacement therapy. And then as Hunter's career started shifting and changing, we decided to move into there together. And also another thing that kind of really inspired us to start moving it was also we started doing our live coffee talks on our YouTube channels every Saturday morning. We do it like, two to one times a month we would do that. And we were like, there's something here, like we're able to really balance each other. I think sometimes like I probably second guess myself a little bit more just because people that have listened to my husband, like he is a very highly intelligent person and he can bring the science to the conversations and I balance them out as in bringing in the more emotional and more of the real life examples
The
to the
feminine.
conversation, the feminine. So, what we're very fortunate because I think a lot of couples, can't work together. We're very fortunate that we can. And we're also too, like, we still have our own separate things that we do, but the projects that we do work on together, it really is something special that not a lot of couples are able to do. But I think it's like we both respect each other and we both respect each other's opinions and thought process. And we really both have taken the time to have a sense of like understanding the masculine and feminine roles in our relationship. And I think that's why it works.
I absolutely love that. And as an outsider looking in, you can see that when you guys do the calls and when you
Hmm.
kind of play off of each other and when you tag
Hmm.
team teach, you can definitely see that there is that balance of masculine and feminine. And you guys
Hmm.
are both, it seems, educators at heart too. Like you do love to
Yeah.
teach. And so it's just been a really fun thing to get to be part of. So
Yeah.
thanks for explaining that a little bit more. Now you said, so you guys got married in May, and then we were talking a
Yes.
little bit before we hopped on. You guys are about to enter your fertility journey as a mom of four teenagers. I'm so excited for you. But tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about that. What does that look like? Because on this podcast, we talk all of the time about foundations. In FDN, we call it our dress protocols. That's diet, rest, exercise, stress management, and then supplements. I always say proper supplements based on lab testing.
Yeah.
But really, those foundations need to be dialed in before we even think about adding peptides. And, being in the collective, I know that that's a big part of what you and Hunter teach as well. So, could you explain a little bit about some of those foundations that you're trying to put in place for your fertility journey? And then maybe we can discuss some peptides.
Yeah, definitely. So, the biggest foundation on really where a lot of this all starts and begins, and it is a very important topic because it plays a very big role in this journey is hormone replacement therapy for
Hmm.
me, for my case. Being on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, like we wouldn't be in the situation that we're at today. Um, just to give a little bit of background, I was on synthetic birth controls for over 15 years. And after finally coming off of them, I did not ovulate for about 4 years. And I actually did not start positively ovulating until I started using therapeutic injectable testosterone.
Mm.
And that's kind of like that's something that's not talked a lot about. Because a lot of people, when I talk about hormone replacement therapy, they're like, well, you're so young. There's no reason you should be on it. And that's the thing, is that it doesn't matter the age. It really depends on the woman's levels.
Hmm.
And starting on bioidentical testosterone and progesterone has been the foundation in order for me to even be able to be considering fertility right now. Um, and I was on cream testosterone for 8 months prior. That was the first form of testosterone I started at 8 months prior before using injectable. And even then, I still wasn't ovulating. So,
Okay.
and progesterone has played a big role in the sense
Hmm.
of like the mental health and the nervous system aspect as well too. I'm very honest about this. I am somebody who I used to use a lot of cannabis. I used a lot of cannabis prior to being on hormone replacement therapy, and I understand now that having progesterone makes a huge difference on the
Hmm.
woman's nervous system.
So
And
are you, oh yeah, go ahead.
okay,
No, I was just going to ask, that's just an interesting little aside. So are you saying
yeah.
that progesterone, like having optimal levels of progesterone kind of took the place of settling your nervous system and your mind in the same way that cannabis would before?
Yes,
Love
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, and especially during that luteal phase of the PMS phase of the menstrual cycle that a lot of women struggle with, especially young women, even in their teens. So I mean, and progesterone is like one of those things is that like it really is more of a symptom base prescribed. So like that's really where like at World Link we're taught that like levels don't always necessarily matter with the blood
Mm.
work. You really want to treat that based on more symptom levels. Because I mean, one woman can feel great at 100 milligrams of progesterone, and then there's some postmenopausal women that needed over 600 milligrams of progesterone. Um, so it really depends on the person. But I wouldn't be in this situation today if it wasn't for progesterone and injectable testosterone in order for me to focus on fertility. So that has been a journey. We have started our fertility journey officially December. So yeah, so I think it is February. So I am very excited to see. I don't know. I have like my little intuition feeling that maybe something will happen in April, but the fertility journey, it is a journey, and like we are still very early on in it. And there's still like there's a less past month I was a little sad when I got my menstrual cycle, but I know that it's still so early, and there's fertility works on both ends, on my end and Hunter's end, that has to be done. And I would say like for me right now, my fertility good is like kind of good to go. Right now we're kind of working on more so Hunter's fertility
Okay.
on
Are
this
you
side of
comfortable
things.
kind of sharing what that process looks like for both male
Yeah,
and female?
yeah, definitely. So for both male and female, so for Hunter with fertility, Hunter has been on testosterone since he was 26. He obviously, if anybody that like listens to him, Hunter was an athlete. He played football, the majority of his life. He played college football. He almost did the NFL, and so there's a lot of things that come along with having concussions. He wrote a book on testosterone, the God molecule, and I remember reading that book when we were dating and like reading the scenes of him sitting in class and like seeing stars and not being all there because he had concussions. I'm like, and I'm supposed to have boys that play football?
Yeah.
But no. So because of that, I mean, we actually had a scan done of his pituitary gland, and his pituitary gland is basically like a size of a raisin. It's like basically non-existing. So he does need the testosterone. This isn't something exogenous that he uses for bodybuilding purposes. It's something that he needs to be able to focus. So with males being on testosterone therapy, that can cause, infertility with sperm count. So, there's a lot of medical professionals that actually do suggest men to actually freeze their sperm prior to starting testosterone therapy. But what that means for us is that we're now just having to have him supplement with HCG and HMG to basically reactivate and to raise his sperm count.
Okay. All right. And then on your end, what is that fertility kind of prep looking like?
Yeah. So for me, like there's not a ton, like supplementation wise, like I'm definitely supplementing more with like fat. I'm a big fatty 15 person. I love fatty 15. So I'm definitely doubling up my fatty 15 supplementation, which I know like that is it's not always it's not a cheap product, but it's a good product and I love that product. So it's like I'm doubling up on that. One of the cool things that both Hunter and I are currently running as far as a peptides go, we are currently using two peptides that I actually did not think that I would be using these two peptides at my age. And we are currently using FOXO4 and Epitalon.
Yep.
And these are great peptides, but these are peptides that I would kind of put more so in what I like to say, my postmenopausal women category. But what I have learned from the wonderful Alex Keekle, who is a dear friend of ours, who another person that like I cannot say like enough good things about. I would say Alex and Hunter are the two people I've learned the most from in this industry. And Alex is literally like a brother to me. He's like family. And he was the one that told us that we needed to run the FOXO4 and the Epitalon because it's going to help because we're both on hormone replacement therapy prior to getting pregnant. It's actually going to help reset those cells because those cells and the mitochondria that's going to be trans down to our baby. So that's going to help reset those cells and reset those receptors. So that's been fun. That's been fun like finally getting to use a peptide that I didn't think I was going to use for a while.
I'm laughing because you said I didn't know I'd be using these peptides at my age. How old are you, by the way?
I am almost 36.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm 43, and so my
Yeah.
practitioner just had me do a FOXO4 protocol for senescent cells a couple months
Yeah.
ago. So I completed mine, and then he has me on Epitalon too. And I was like, oh damn, like I guess I'm almost post. I guess I'm that old lady on the old lady peptides. But I did really like the, science. He definitely sent me a lot of information on senescent cells and what the
hmm
peptide itself could actually do. I think my
Yeah.
course was 10 days and then my Epitalon's just kind of ongoing. But
hmm
I didn't get a ton of information. I have a little information about the bioregulators, but what are you taking the Epitalon for? Is that more mitochondrial health?
That's going to be more so for mitochondria health and
Mhm.
a really good antioxidant
Okay. Yep.
support as well too. And I have used some of the bioregulators like the ovary bioregulator. I
Mhm.
have used it because because my ovulation is good and because it's been a journey to kind of get there. It's not one I've used it, but it's not one honestly it makes me super nauseous and I think it does raise my L oh gosh, I can't talk. My HL levels a little too high.
Uh-huh.
Um because I feel like almost like I have a little bit of a higher estrogen spike and I don't need that right now. Like I think
Um,
right now like with where I'm at with like my blood work where honestly like where Alex feels that I'm at, where Hunter feels that I'm at, like, and where I feel like I'm at, like, we're good. We're not going to keep continuing to use them.
Okay. Okay. Great. Exciting.
I think they're
Yeah.
great. I think they're great. They're
Mhm.
great, but it's just something that's not needed
Right. Just
for
like a
me.
little pre-scrub before you guys
Yeah.
get into the meat of the journey. I love it. I
Yeah.
can't wait to see what happens.
Yes.
Best of luck. Uh,
Yes.
and really, you are talking a lot about this. I mean, you guys are pretty open,
Mhm.
sharing what you're doing in your own life. I think that's one of the things I really like and respect about you guys. You're talking about this on your channels. We talked a little bit too about your social media journey. Now, one of the reasons I reached out to you to ask you, hey, would you please come on my podcast, is because you sent this email a couple weeks ago to people in the collective, and we're like, you know what? I'm having a come to Jesus moment. My Instagram got shut down. Social media is just kind of, blowing up. And it's true. I mean, people in the peptide space, we know we have to be much more careful now than we had to be like 6 months ago, a year ago. I
Yeah.
just had Dr. Jones, Dean Jones, on the podcast last week, and we talked about some of these new FDA crackdowns and regulations. Not necessarily like they're not coming for raids for peptide companies, but certainly they are under a lot higher scrutiny. And so, for me, my own Instagram has been blocked. I can't do collabs with people. I can't monetize my content. They're not
Mhm.
showing my content to new followers. There are all these like random restrictions, which feels very disempowering because there's nothing you can do about it. You can't be like, this was my intent, or this is what I was trying to do. And there's not a human you can talk to. So I know that's kind of a experience that
Yeah.
you have had as well. I'd love for you to share a little bit about that and what you're doing instead.
Yeah, so I have a guy
I have a
for you.
guy. I
If you
love
need a
it.
guy, I have a guy for that. Um, so yeah, definitely, it's so interesting seeing like just how much the peptide industry, especially with social media, has changed over the last 3 years even. And my household is not one that like I'm not the first person in this household to be affected like by this. I mean, 2 years ago, Hunter had a channel get deleted from YouTube. But I mean, it's been an ongoing battle of like since the fall of getting a lot of strikes and it's definitely it's so hard because like I'm not one like I don't really love social media. Like I love YouTube, but like I'm not like a big like one to put my life out there. I'm very open and talking, but like I'm not one that like I'm terrible about like taking selfies and being on my phone and like I really try to be present and be in the moment when I'm doing things. And I think because of the way we film, like it's just kind of like if the least amount of time on camera, like the better. And it makes me sad because it's a lot of work that I have put into it and it's coming from a place of like truly just trying to help people. I'm not out here trying to sell products. I'm here to share my information on where I get my stuff. I'm here to really just share and make a difference because I've seen it affect so many people on such a positive level that it's also crazy to me. Like I could go drive down to the store right now and buy enough alcohol to essentially kill myself.
Yeah.
And now I'm being banned because it's saying I'm pushing the use of illegal drugs because I'm talking about a peptide. Whereas, and I can inject an entire bottle of BPC and nothing negative is going to happen
Yeah.
to me. Um, so it's just it it's a weird time. I think for a lot of people, it's as peptides. I've said this in the past. I said I think the future of peptides will eventually become more in the medical system and more mainstream, which I am grateful for because I do think more people should be using them. But I think that can also eventually backfire on the researchers like myself and others out there that can't openly share their opinion and their voices on things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is definitely frustrating and like I said, just like a little bit disempowering. Like
It is.
I know people need this information. They want this information. They're asking about this information. And so being being held back from being able to share that information is really frustrating. The last post I got taken down was literally just a post on individual peptides with PubMed studies citing how they're effective. Like there wasn't even a call to action. It was just
Mhm.
like, here's BPC 157, here's TB 500,
Mhm.
here's tirzepatide or whatever, and not like I'm trying to get you this peptide. It was I'm
Yeah.
like, what bot is going through trying to like tell me that this is an illegal post? It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
So I'll
It is
email you.
interesting. Yeah, email me. It's interesting because what's interesting in the technology world nowadays is that there's so many things you can get people to help and do with. And when people now, I think, don't realize how far and along technology has come, we're now able to figure out like some of the tech stuff, like the people that we have like that were able to help us, they can go in and see whether or not it was a flagged bot just from the company's AI system or if something was done fraudulently from being
Mm,
reported. And I think in the case of my case, it was mass reports
mhm.
and flags. It wasn't necessarily like the system, the AI getting flagged because I mean it's so funny because I got my Instagram gone for like 2 weeks. I got it back. Now I'm like, and I told my guy, I was like, I don't know if I want it back. It's
Yeah.
nice having that break. I don't know if I want it back. But it
I
was so
think
funny. Like I looked up something and it was a video of a certain peptide that was the name of a peptide that flagged my account. And this person who was not a doctor was injecting themselves on camera. And I'm like, it's so interesting how like that doesn't get flagged. I'm literally talking and have my slides pulled up.
yeah.
Like, I think like the most boring kind of content. But the way that I view it is that like, there probably were things of like me giving dosing recommendations and probably giving way too much information is probably why it got flagged.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably upset certain people in the world, whether it's other research companies, whether it's other medical professionals. I think that, I understand that it could maybe upset somebody if I don't represent their brand or that I'm somebody who I don't have a ton of letters behind my name. I'm not a doctor. They don't feel like it's right for me to be talking and sharing my experiences. But at the end of the day, it's a weird time. And when you put yourself out there on the internet, like, you are open to that open criticism, but like when your intention, like I will say this about me and my husband, like our intention is purely just to help people. We are very spiritual in the sense of like we believe that like you should give back as much as you can. Like we're not in this for the financial perks and the financial gain. Like we truly just want to help people because it's helped us so much. And we see how much it's life changing. And it does make you question things like, when that happened, it was just like, oh my goodness, do I have to now like reshift all of my content and just make like what I eat in a day video and like a workout with me video? Like, and not that there's anything wrong with that because I love watching like people live their lives and do their things. Like, I love all those things, but it feels like I can't, it makes me feel like I'm keeping this like such a huge important tool to myself and instead of sharing it with the world that can help someone. It feels like I'm not doing my service as a human being by not
Um,
doing it. So,
yeah, that's helpful. And that makes sense to me. Like almost like you're not showing up appropriately or being disingenuous, not on purpose, just because those are the parameters that have been foisted upon you at this
yeah.
time.
Yeah, and I feel bad when people, I get people that will, send me messages like, like, oh, if I want to know what you're taking, I have to join your group for this amount of money a month. Like, that's a scam. And it's like, it's not a scam because you can go back and look at my videos on my YouTube channel. And I have had people reach out to me saying, like, hey, I just follow all your YouTube videos and you've changed my life. These people have never paid me for personal one-on-one coaching. They've never been in my private membership group. So it's like there comes a point like where I don't want it that way. If I could give all the information out, I would. But at the same time, like I also have to protect myself or else I wouldn't be able to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to pay your bills for
And there
sure,
is that
but
too.
yeah, I mean, you're running a business, but also I love this idea. And again, I can see it. I'm part of the collective. Like I've been following you guys for a long time. Like
Mhm.
you can see that you are both service first, which is just very encouraging. Like the level of teaching that I get in the group, the level of teaching I've gotten in your courses and even just on your YouTube channel is fantastic. Like there is no source I go to before I go to Hunter with
Yeah.
like any, peptide I haven't heard of. Like I'll Google Hunter Williams Fox04. Like he has established himself. You've established yourself
Mhm.
as someone trustworthy. So I do really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like
Hmm.
that's always been our purpose. And I always say this, especially I say it more so like during our coffee talks, is that I always say like do your own research. Like if you're listening to what I'm saying and what I'm suggesting or what I'm doing, like don't just take my word as, as the gospel. Go do your own research with it. And I think that is one of the things I do think that is kind of like a downfall with I think it's great how much the peptide influencer space has grown and how many people are going on social media and voicing their opinions on peptides and everything. But it also makes it very confusing for people. And it's like, you can go and listen to something another influencer says about a certain peptide. And then I get questioned about it. I'm like, well, go ask that person about it because this is my thought and my theory about it. I don't agree with that. But like also go and check me, go do your research and check me. I mean, the amount of like tools that are accessible to us now, especially with AI, to make it so much easier to pull real, real reports, real medical studies, like it makes it a lot easier
Yeah.
rather than, just listening to what one person says. Like go back and check me because, that's one of the things Hunter and I always like strive to do, especially with having a private group, is that like we don't want to feel like it's like our way or no way. Like, do I have hard, like very much hard standards and belief that like certain foundations need to be there? Yes, but like I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong if you don't want to follow those foundations. Like at the end of the day, it's still your own journey to figure out. So it's do your own research.
Very wise words and very well said. Yeah. One of the things I'll tell people too is, you won't know until you try. So there's a lot of theory going on with peptides and a lot
Hmm.
of stories, like you said, a lot of influencers out there, talking about peptides. And I'll have people ask me, well, should I try this one? How will I know, if I'm going to lose 10 pounds on a GLP-1, or is BPC
Hmm.
157 really going to help with my tennis elbow? I'm like, I could tell you what the research says. I could tell you what some of my clients have experienced or what I've experienced, but
Hmm.
really the only way to know is for you to try because that's where your burden of proof is going to be
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah, it really is. And that's like, like we get asked a lot, like, where did we learn everything that we've learned about peptides? And, you know, honestly, like really when it comes down to it, a lot of this was like self-study. You go back like 5 years ago, there was no dosing protocol for BPC or SS31. A lot of it was honestly practice and experimentation on ourselves. And then more studies come out, and then we have more case studies, personally, our case studies that we have. And it's always going to affect everybody differently. What it works for me, it might not work for you. And the same in reverse. So it's like it's really going to affect everybody differently.
100%. I do love this discussion because it's been more of like an existential peptide discussion, which has been really, really fun. But I did want to ask you, is there a specific peptide that you can think about from your past where you were pleasantly surprised with the results? Maybe results that you weren't necessarily expecting, where you were like, oh, this might be the real deal. Like these actually might be helping me more than I thought they were going to.
Yeah, so I mean, there's so many, but the peptide that honestly will always stand out for me is the peptide melanotan 1. And the reason why is that melanotan 1 is known for being the tanning peptide. And it helps, with UVA protection. So where like essentially like you technically don't have to worry about putting sunscreen on if you use it and you go out in the sun. It's also very beneficial to use in like the winter and the darker times of the year to help with that dopamine that you would get from sunlight. But what I didn't expect at all with melanotan 1 was how much it does to the nervous system and how much it helped me when I decided to stop using cannabis and prior to going on hormone replacement therapy, because it took me a long time to find a hormone replacement therapy doctor. It took me a long time. And I noticed that using melanotan 1 during my luteal phase of my menstrual cycle really helped a lot with PMS and that like emotional PMS, like nervous system.
That
So,
is
so it's
very
just, yes.
interesting. Okay, what a cool benefit.
Yeah.
And you're tan
And
and
you're
you
tan.
feel great. Oh, that is so encouraging. Okay, cool. That is a good one. Now, like we talked about, we know you guys are on your
Mhm,
fertility journey, but kind of
mhm.
as we wrap up, if you could think back over the past, 5+ years, and you had to bring three peptides with you to a deserted desert island, what would be in your carry-on and why?
It's so funny because Hunter actually asked me this question like 2 days ago. So that's
Really?
so
You're
funny.
prepped.
Yeah, we have these are the conversations that we have. So my peptides that I would bring with me would definitely be KPV, would definitely be one of the main peptides I would have. I think KPV is one of the most like underrated, talked about peptides. I do think it's going to be a peptide that is going to be kind of like up and coming. Um, but definitely KPV because it's also going to help. It's going to help with like inflammatory issues with the gut. It's also going to help with inflammatory issues with like also ligament and like wound recovery and healing tendons and everything that like I feel like it's actually a little bit of a like a stronger version than BPC.
Mhm.
Um, the other peptide that I would also take with me would be if I'm on a desert island, I'm going to take melanotan 1 to help with my UVA protection and the cognitive benefits that you get with melanotan 1 is also like it does help with like vision and helping vision being clearer. So that's always a benefit as well. And then my third peptide. I would have to probably say TB 500 because there are a lot of benefits, like as far as like the cellular repair that TB 500 can do, um, can actually really help a lot with stem cell. And then obviously you would have that for like helping with any kind of wound protection. But those would be my three. I wouldn't bring a GLP because we're on a desert island, so we're not going to be eating a ton anyway.
I love that. Okay, that is a kick-ass first aid kit. So
Mhm.
cool. And great peptides. Thank you.
Yeah.
This has been so fun, Taylor. So again, thank you for hopping on with me today. I am passionate about people finding you because you have been such a resource for me over these past couple of years. So can you please share how people can find you online?
Yeah. So you can find me right now on Instagram and it's Taylor Williams Coaching. And then my YouTube is the same. Is going to be Taylor Williams Coaching on YouTube. So those are the best ways to find me. And then they all have my link tree link in there as well to get you connected to me and get you connected to like how to work with me.
Love it. Thank you so much. And if you don't mind, in the show notes, we can put a link to the Axion Collective too.
Yes.
That is the group I've been part of now for I think like 4 months. It's just been really great, a fantastic resource for me, just personally and professionally. It's been really, really helpful. It's a great group of guys and girls in there. So we'll put that in the show notes as well.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, Taylor, any closing thoughts for the Peptides for Women audience?
Hmm. Closing thoughts, I will say, like, not to repeat myself, is like really take the time to really study and do your own research and, making sure like these peptides are not magical tools. They are, they're tools that you can use, but making sure that you're dialed in like with your hormones, with your nutrition, with your supplementation, And then peptides are like the sprinkles on top. So definitely, and then
Well
always
said.
do your own research. Do your own research as well too.
A very empowering statement. I 100% agree. That is a great thing to leave the audience with. So,
Yeah.
again, Taylor Reed, thank you so much for being here today. And to everyone listening today, we very much appreciate you being on this episode of the Peptides for Women podcast. And we will see you next time.
Thank you guys.